In January 2025, someone tried to poison Kim Jong-un at his private residence, and his own bodyguards were the first suspects. What followed has never been reported in Western media. A systematic purge, a midnight escape across a frozen river, and a complete restructuring of North Korea's most secretive security apparatus. Tonight, one of those bodyguards tells us exactly what happened inside that dining room. For more exclusive testimonies like this, subscribe and become part of our investigative community. These stories exist nowhere else. Exactly 974. That was the unit number. And the distance between me and Kim Jong-un that night was exactly 9 feet 2 inches. I saw it happen. Or more precisely, I saw someone try to stop it. After that night, every one of us in Unit 974 went from being a protector to a suspect. My name is Choi Cheolro. I was a first lieutenant in Unit 974's Close Protection Detail. You've never heard of Unit 974. Most people in North Korea hadn't either. Put simply, we were the ones standing next to Kim Jong-un with loaded weapons. That was us. January 23, 2025. Pyongyang was cut with a bitter wind that day. I was on the night shift, 6 in the evening to 6 the next morning. 12 hours inside the residence. I stood against the left wall at the entrance to the dining room. My right hand rested just above my holster. My left hung naturally at my side. My eyes never looked directly at Kim Jong-un, but every movement he made stayed within my field of vision. 7 years of standing that way. By then, the body just knows. That night, Kim Jong-un was sitting down to dinner. 6 dishes were already laid out. Pyongyang cold noodles, white kimchi, braised pork, grilled fish, doenjang jjigae, fermented soybean paste soup, and rice. His usual rotation. I knew everything about his preferences. When he used the bathroom, what time he fell asleep, which sitting position he favored. Unit 974 had to know all of it. He reached for his chopsticks. His hand was moving toward the soup. That's when we heard it. Footsteps. Fast ones. Someone sprinting down the corridor at full speed. My body moved before my mind did. My right hand closed around my holster. My left foot stepped forward. The 3 men beside me did the same simultaneously without a word. We'd been trained for exactly this. If someone ran near Kim Jong-un, that was an emergency. Immediate response, no hesitation. The door burst open. A state security agent rushed in. Mid-40s. His face had gone white. His breathing was loud enough to fill the room. One button on his uniform collar had come undone. A state security officer walking around with an open collar. That was unthinkable. But there it was. Marshal. His voice was shaking. Something went blank in my mind. You never run in Kim Jong-un's presence. That is an ironclad rule. Walk briskly if you must, but walk. This man had sprinted in with his collar open. Whatever had happened, it was serious. The room froze. 2 attendants stopped mid-movement. The chef standing near the table held his breath. Kim Jong-un set down his chopsticks. Slowly, deliberately. His face showed nothing. But I knew. 7 years at his side teaches you to read what isn't said. He was furious. What? One word. The weight behind it was immense. The agent approached the table, nearly staggering. He leaned in and whispered something into Kim Jong-un's ear. I was about 10 feet away. I couldn't catch the words. But I watched Kim Jong-un's face change. It went rigid. His jaw muscle twitched, the signal I'd learned to recognize. He was angry. Everyone out. Low voice. Every person in that room heard it clearly. The chef left quickly. The attendants nearly ran through the door. 2 of the 4 bodyguards followed. I stayed. So did the one other member of the close detail. We don't leave unless Kim Jong-un orders it directly. That's the rule. The state security agent walked to the table. Carefully, the way you handle something that might detonate. He lifted the doenjang soup bowl with both hands, placed it into a plastic bag. He pulled from his pocket and stepped back. A few drops of broth landed on the tablecloth, spreading in a slow brown stain. He bowed deeply to Kim Jong-un and left. Kim Jong-un didn't move. He stared at the table. 10 seconds passed. Maybe more. Then he stood the meal untouched and walked into the inner rooms. The door closed behind him. I stayed where I was. My heart was slamming. Beside me, I heard one of my colleagues exhale barely a sound. We didn't look at each other. But we were thinking the same thing. What just happened? I found out later. Much later. Poison had been detected in the soup. State security caught it at the last possible moment, seconds before the spoon reached his lips. If that agent had walked in 10 seconds later, Kim Jong-un would have eaten it. Whether it would have killed him, I don't know. But that wasn't what mattered. What mattered was that someone had tried. Inside the residence, while Unit 974 was on post, someone had attempted to kill Kim Jong-un. Past midnight, the removals began. 12 kitchen staff were taken, first the cooks, the prep workers, the people who carried the dishes. 20 more with any connection to the food chain followed. 8 state security guards assigned to the residence were replaced on the spot. New faces arriving at 3 in the morning to swap them out. At 6 the next morning, Unit 974 received emergency orders. Full assembly. Individual interviews beginning at 9. No explanation given. In North Korea, explanations are never given. But I understood. Everyone present in that residence, everyone in the vicinity was now under review. And in North Korea, being under review means you're already a suspect. And once you're a suspect, there is no way to prove your innocence. And if you can't prove your innocence, you die. Let me explain what Unit 974 actually was. We were singular. The closest human beings to Kim Jong-un in all of North Korea. The only people permitted to carry weapons within arm's reach of him. Generals couldn't bring weapons into his presence. Senior officials, nothing. We even had authority to confiscate weapons from other officers, regardless of rank. From Kim Jong-un's perspective, we were both shield and blade, capable of protecting him at any moment, capable of harming him at any moment. That's why Unit 974 was under constant surveillance. A dedicated state security division monitored us exclusively, and we monitored each other. Colleagues of 7 years still not trusted. Trust didn't exist there, only fear. I looked at the faces of my fellow unit members after the summons came through. Kim Young-cheol, 28 years old, lips gone pale. Park Sung-woo, early 40s, hands trembling. Men who had never flinched in 7 years of service. That morning was different. Nobody spoke, but we all knew. It didn't matter whether you'd done anything wrong. Being in that room, that was the problem. The interviews went in order of seniority. I was 11th. Around 11:30 in the morning, I calculated. The commanding officer went in first at 9. An hour passed. He didn't come out. The second man went in. Another hour. He didn't come out either. Third, fourth, fifth, no one returned. That's when I understood. The interviews didn't end with you walking back out. They ended with you being sent somewhere else. Where exactly, I didn't know. A detention facility, another unit, or simply gone. Park Sung-woo, the man ahead of me, stopped at the door and turned. His eyes found mine. Not fear. Not anger. Emptiness. The look of a man who had already let go of everything. The door opened. He went in. The door closed. I was alone in the corridor. 30 minutes later, the door opened again. Next, I stood. My legs were shaking. 7 years in Unit 974, weapons training, high-pressure incidents. Nothing had frightened me the way those 10 steps to that door did. I reached for the handle. One thought landed before I could stop it: you may not walk back out. There was no choice. I opened the door. The interrogation room was smaller than I'd imagined. 1 desk. 2 chairs. Portraits of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on the wall. No window. A single fluorescent light, too bright, almost blinding. A state security colonel sat behind the desk. Mid-50s. Glasses. Papers spread in front of him. He didn't look up when I entered. Sit. I sat. Spine straight, hands on my knees. A soldier's posture. He turned a page, then looked up at me. Choi Chi-olro. Unit 974, Close Protection Detail, First Lieutenant. Enlisted April 2018, 7 years of service. Correct? Yes, correct. The night of January 23rd. Where were you? Standing at the entrance to the dining room in the residence. Distance from Marshal Kim Jong-un, 9 feet 2 inches. He wrote something. The pen scratching against paper filled the room. Who was in the dining room that night? Marshal Kim Jong-un. 1 chef. 2 attendants. 4 members of the close detail, including myself. How many dishes? 6. Pyongyang cold noodles, white kimchi, braised pork, grilled fish, doenjang soup, and rice. Who carried the food? The chef brought it from the kitchen. Before that, 2 serving staff transported it from the kitchen to the dining room. I don't know their names. I knew their faces, but not their names. We were not permitted to speak with them. 7 years of service, and you don't know the names of the serving staff. We didn't speak with them. That was the rule. He wrote again longer this time. Anyone suspicious that night? No. No unusual behavior. You saw nothing. I performed my duties from my assigned position. And what were those duties? To protect Marshal Kim Jong-un. Protect. He let the word sit. Poison got into the marshal's food while you were on post. I had no answer, because he was right. That was the truth of it, we had failed. He tapped the desk slowly, a measured rhythm. Choi Chiolro. 7 years in Unit 974, then you know what we're looking for. I did. They weren't looking for the real culprit. They were looking for someone to hold responsible. Someone had to be punished. Who it was didn't matter. Any colleagues who seemed off recently? Anyone expressing dissatisfaction? No, nothing unusual. No one. He removed his glasses, polished them slowly, watching me. Are you protecting your colleagues or protecting yourself? I'm telling you what I know. What you know. A thin smile. There's no such thing as facts here. What I need is an answer. You're not giving me one. I said nothing. There was nothing left to say. The interview ran over an hour. The same questions. The same answers. Nothing suspicious. Nothing unusual. Nothing. Finally, he closed the folder. Dismissed. I stood, saluted, walked to the door. My hand was on the handle when he spoke again. Choi Cheolro. I stopped. You're fortunate. For now. I didn't respond. I opened the door and stepped out. The corridor was empty. Every colleague who had waited with me was gone. Wherever they'd gone, I had no idea. I walked toward the stairwell. On the second floor, 2 staff officers from the guard command were talking over a stack of documents. I moved to pass them. One of them dropped his papers. Pages scattered across the floor. He scrambled to gather them. I bent instinctively to pick up one. I froze when I saw the header. Unit 974 Personnel Redeployment Plan. Names ran down the page. My colleagues. My name. And beside each name, a line drawn in red. The officer snatched the paper from my hand. What are you doing? My apologies. I bowed and he was gone. I stood there. Redeployment. In North Korea, that word has 2 meanings. Transfer to another unit or permanent removal. Red lines typically meant the second. That night I couldn't sleep. The list kept appearing behind my eyes. Every name in Unit 974, every red line beside them. The interviews weren't about finding the culprit. They were a formality, a procedure to complete before disposing of us. Kim Jong-un had already decided. Everyone present in the residence during the assassination attempt had to go. The kitchen staff were already gone. The guards had been replaced. We were what remained. 2 days later, our commanding officer disappeared. He'd been with Unit 974 for 15 years, never late, never absent. His spot at morning formation was empty. The deputy commander stepped forward. I'm in command as of today. That was all. No explanation, no timeline. We didn't ask. In North Korea, asking questions is how you shorten your life. But we knew. He wasn't coming back. 2 days after that, the deputy commander was gone as well. Then the senior captain. The same 3 words each time, I'm in command, followed by the same silence. Within a week, 13 members of Unit 974 had vanished. The commanding officer, 2 deputy commanders, 3 captains, 4 lieutenants, 5 enlisted men. Some were called in and escorted out. Others simply didn't appear at morning formation. No announcements, no explanations. A space emptied and was filled the next day by someone new. Every morning I counted. How many fewer than yesterday? Whose turn today? On the 10th day, Kim Young-cheol, 28 years old, quiet and reliable, someone I'd worked alongside for years, was called out after formation. Kim Young-cheol, come with me. He turned and looked at me. His eyes asked a question I couldn't answer. I looked away. He followed the agent down the corridor. I watched his back. Shoulders dropped. He wasn't at formation the next morning. On day 14, Park Sung-woo was gone too. No summons this time. He went out for a night shift and didn't return. That evening I was posted to his position, the corridor of the residence, the spot where he'd stood for over a decade. I stared at that wall, his wall. Days earlier he'd been right here. Now there was nothing. No way to know where he was. No way to know if he was still alive. That night around 3 in the morning, a sound from outside woke me. An engine. I went to the window. A truck was idling at the unit gate state security markings. 4 figures in Unit 974 uniforms climbed in. I couldn't see their faces. The truck pulled away and disappeared into the dark. I lay back down. Sleep didn't come. The following day I passed a staff officer's desk in the guard command building. He was on the phone, papers spread open in front of him. I slowed as I walked by. Unit 974 second redeployment target list. About 20 names on the first page. Mine was 14th. Next to it, a date. February 5th. 3 days away. I went to the bathroom, stood in front of the mirror. Looked at the face I'd been looking at for 31 years. That day it looked like a stranger's. 3 days. Then I'd be gone. Like young Sheol. Like Sungwoo. Like the commander. I asked the man in the mirror a simple question. Die here. Or run. Defecting in North Korea carries a death sentence. Getting caught means execution. Your family gets swept up in Yanjuaja guilt. By association sent to the camps. Cousins. Uncles. 3 generations. But staying meant death too. In 3 days my name would be called. I wouldn't come back. The math was straightforward. Stay 100% chance of dying. Run 10% chance of surviving. For a soldier, the calculation isn't complicated. I returned to my bunk and stared at the ceiling. I was going to run. But not alone. Unit 974 personnel are the most traceable people in North Korea. Our faces are in the state security database. Fingerprints. Blood type. Family records going back 3 generations. Alone, I'd be caught within 2 days. But 7 people moving simultaneously, that's harder to manage. Even state security can't track that many at once. The problem was trust. In Unit 974, you don't trust your colleagues. We were trained to watch each other. Tell the wrong person you're planning to run, and you're finished before you start. But there was one person, Lee Jin-soo. Same enlistment year, 31 years old, from Cheongjin in North Hamgyong Province. We'd slept in the same room and worked the same rotation for 7 years. His name was on the list too, February 6th, one day after mine. The night of February 3rd, around 11. I found him in the bathroom when no one else was around. I didn't say it directly. Instead, I asked him one question. Do you know what February 6th means? His face hardened. I know. Then what are you going to do? I don't know. I took a step closer. I do. His eyes shifted. He understood what I meant. Are you out of your mind? Staying here is 100% death. Running is 10% survival. What about our families? If we die here, our families get investigated anyway. Guilt by association. He went quiet. Because it was true. When a Unit 974 member is purged, the family goes with them. That's the rule. Are you alone? No. 6 others already. 7 with you. He thought for a moment. Then nodded. When? Tomorrow night. How? I laid out the plan. We were Unit 974. We knew Kim Jong-un's schedule. We knew the residence layout. We knew the guard rotation times. We knew the checkpoint locations and which hours they ran thin. If we used that information to leave, no one could stop us. February 4th, I was assigned to the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift. So was Jin-soo. So were all 6 of the others. The planned midnight changeover. When the new shift arrived, we were supposed to return to the barracks. We wouldn't. 30 minutes after handoff, enough time for the new rotation to settle. We'd be moving through Pyongyang. A Unit 974 uniform is a pass. No checkpoint in North Korea stops us. State security, regular police, nobody touches Kim Jong-un's bodyguards. That was our exit. 11:50 p.m. I stood in the residence corridor. Jin-soo on my left. 2 others across the hall. We exchanged glances. Ready? 11:55. The new shift appeared at the far end of the corridor. 4 men walking toward us. Midnight. The handoff. Good work. Good work. I saluted and moved. The others fell in behind me. We walked down the corridor and out of the residence. At the front gate, the sentry saluted. We returned it and walked through. No one stopped us. Out onto the streets of Pyongyang. 12:10 a.m. Empty. We moved fast but didn't run. Running draws attention. We walked like soldiers on duty. 30 minutes outer Pyongyang. 1 hour city limits cleared. 2 hours border region. 3 a.m. The Tumen River. It was narrower than I expected, about 160 feet across. January. Most of it frozen, but not completely. Water moved through the center. I dropped flat on the bank and looked across. China. A few lights. A village. My team behind me, Jin-soo and 5 others, all in Unit 974 uniforms. Guards? Jin-soo asked. I scanned left. A post roughly 300 yards out. Light visible inside. 300 yards. Shift change at 4. I checked the watch. 3:15. 45 minutes. We waited. Flat on the frozen ground. January wind sharp as a blade. 3:40. 2 soldiers stepped out of the post 20 minutes ahead of schedule. Move! We rose and went down the bank onto the ice. I took each step deliberately, one at a time. Behind me, the others followed. About 30 feet out, a voice cut through the dark. Halt. I turned. 2 border guards running toward us from the post. Weapons drawn. Unit 974, on official duty. I called it loud and flat. They hesitated. The name gave them pause. You don't just stop Kim Jong-un's bodyguards. But then one of them reached for his radio. Hold on. Checking in. If that call went through, it was over. Run. I drove forward full speed across the ice. Behind me, the sound of boots following. Stop, I'll shoot! The shot came. A round passed left of me and punched into the ice. I kept moving. 20 meters. 30. Pushing toward the center. 2 more shots. Behind me, someone cried out. Don't look back. I knew that. Just forward. 40 meters. The far bank coming closer. 45. 50. More shots, 3 fast. My foot hit rising ground. Earth, not ice. China. I scrambled up the bank and turned. Jinsu was behind me. 3 others with him. The others? He shook his head. We were 7. Now 5. 2 had gone down on the ice. I looked back across the river. The border guard stood on the far bank. They'd stopped shooting. We were on Chinese soil. They couldn't cross that line. We stood up and walked toward the village. We didn't look back. 4:30 a.m., February 5th, 2025, I left North Korea. Later, much later, I learned what happened in Pyongyang after we disappeared. 6 a.m. formation on February 5th, 7 absences. At first, they assumed tardiness. 10 minutes passed. 20. Then barracks check beds made, personal items undisturbed. But no people. 6:40 emergency report to Guard Command. 7 full unit search order. Residence, barracks, training grounds, everything. Nothing. 8 state security moved. Our families were the first ones taken in. Parents, siblings, extended family, all of them. 9 a report came in from the border region. Gunfire on the Tumen River at approximately 4 a.m. 5 individuals in Unit 974 uniforms confirmed to have crossed. 10 a.m. That report reached Kim Jong-un. They say Pyongyang stopped? He didn't appear anywhere for 6 hours. Every scheduled meeting was canceled. He didn't leave the residence. 4 p.m. Emergency session. The guard commander, the state security chief, the Minister of People's Armed Forces. 2 hours. His voice reportedly carried through the walls of the conference room. 6 p.m. First Order Unit 974 fully dissolved. Every remaining member redeployed somewhere unknown. New personnel assigned to fill the unit. 2 days later, Guard Command restructured and split into 4 separate organizations. Guard Corps, Security Bureau, Defense Bureau, Special Defense Unit. Each one built to watch the others. 3 days after that, the Guard Commander, 20 years in the post, dismissed. New commander appointed. Entire staff replaced. 1 week later, Kim Jong-un's movement patterns changed completely. Fixed routes gone. Departure times randomized. Travel paths unpredictable. The residence layout was physically altered. His bedroom moved. The dining room moved. Every piece of information we carried was made obsolete overnight. All of that. Because of 7 men. We didn't just escape. We exposed a fracture in the system. The men closest to Kim Jong-un, the ones trusted with his life at arm's reach, had run. That meant no one could be trusted. He knew that. So he changed everything. The people, the structure, the system. But there was one thing he couldn't change. The fear inside himself. I'm in South Korea now. After crossing the Tumen River, 6 months through China, and then South Korea. August 2025, I remember stepping off the plane. So this is what free feels like. 3 months at Hanawon, the government resettlement center for North Korean defectors. Learning to open a bank account, ride the subway, use a smartphone. Things I couldn't have imagined in Pyongyang. I live in Seoul now. I can't tell you where exactly. My identity stays hidden. So does the identity of the 4 others who made it here with me. Because we're not ordinary defectors. We're Unit 974. We were the last line between Kim Jong-un and the world. What we carry in our heads, his schedule, his movements, his habits, his health, the residence layout, the protection protocols, the security architecture. All of it is classified at the highest level in North Korea. We are a threat simply by being alive. There were people tracking us through China. We stay careful here too. People ask me, why did you defect? I tell them I wanted to live. This wasn't betrayal. I didn't betray Kim Jong-un. I preserved my own life. We spent 7 years guarding him. We stood at his side and put our lives on the line every day. But who stood at ours? No one. The night of the assassination attempt, we were simply present. We did nothing wrong. That was enough to mark us for removal. That's North Korea. You don't have to commit a crime to die. Suspicion is sufficient. I watch the news here. Every report about North Korea, I pay attention. Where Kim Jong-un appeared, what he said. A few weeks ago, footage from a public event. He was surrounded by twice as many bodyguards as before. Every face was new. Watching that, I understood. He's still afraid. Nearly a year since we left. He's still rotating personnel, rebuilding organizations, rewriting systems. But none of it reaches the root. Changing the people doesn't change the structure. And the structure is built on fear. Loyalty built on fear will eventually break. We proved it. 7 men from the unit, Kim Jong-un trusted most of the men, who stood inside arm's reach with weapons who would have taken a bullet for him, ran. Not because we wanted to betray him, because we wanted to live. Because survival is the most basic human instinct. No loyalty, no ideology, no amount of fear can override that. Kim Jong-un seems not to understand this. Or maybe he understands and refuses to accept it. So he keeps changing things. People, organizations, systems. But eventually he'll have to confront the truth that what needs changing isn't the personnel, it's the system itself. That the only real loyalty is loyalty built on trust, not terror. I live freely now. I can go anywhere, say anything, see anyone. A life I couldn't have pictured standing in that corridor. But sometimes I think about the ones I left behind. Where are my parents? Is my younger sibling safe? After we crossed, they were investigated. I know that. They may have been sent to a camp. That's the hardest thing to carry. The choice I made to survive brought suffering to people I love. I don't regret it. I chose survival. And because of that choice, I'm standing here. But someday if North Korea changes, if I can go back, I want to say it to them directly. I'm sorry, but I wanted to live. That's all I had to give.